Amanda here with StraightSmile Solutions, and I'm piggybacking off this great conference I was in this weekend in Las Vegas. Learned a lot about dental monitoring system and how to increase the ROI and your production with all your orthodontic cases. This is really a system that's not only for orthodontists, but it's also for general and pediatric dentists. So I encourage you to get a demo and to check it out. Do check out my blog piece. It has a lot of the highlights of the system in there, but I want to kind of go over my little quiz here first. I want everyone who's doing any kind of orthodontics in their practice to take this quiz. It's a really simple quiz, okay? So I'm going to walk you through it because it might be a little confusing otherwise. But basically, what I want you to do is I think a lot of people get complacent. I talk to doctors all the time, and maybe they're a 6-month smiles provider, or they're doing fast braces, or they're doing clear correct, or they're doing, Invisalign, doesn't matter. And the vast majority of the doctors I'm working with are general and pediatric dentists. So I'm going to be mostly directing this their way, but this is also a quiz for orthodontists too. So what I want you to do is I want you to have your office manager run a report of the last 5 orthodontic cases you've completed. That means they're in retention and they're done with their retention period, whatever that duration is for you, and all their visits. Write down, run a report. So you're going to pull to pull this report. The easiest way I think is to pull the report from the last 5 D8050s through D8090s. Okay, so that's going to be a big mixture of different types of orthodontic cases you've done. If you want to make it even more accurate, pull the last 10. I don't really care. So run that report. Okay, calculate the collections. That means the collections, not the production, what you actually took home, less fees, less discounts, everything like that, and average them. Write your number here. Okay, so write that here. Okay, the next thing you're going to do is you're going to calculate the overhead on each case. So this is how I recommend doing this. You cannot forget things. And when we're talking about overhead, we're not just talking about lab fees. We're talking about the sum of all the lab fees from the appliances, aligners, refinements, revisions, retention, lost aligners, everything, mid-course corrections, the sum of all the supplies used. I mean, you're just guessing. If you're using braces, how much they cost you. If you're using 6-month smiles, you probably know what that lab fee is. Wires, adhesive. I mean, it's a few bucks here and there for some of that stuff, but add it up, okay? PVS, if you're using impressions. The sum of all the overhead on the chair time throughout the lifetime of the case for the doctor and staff. So you're going to need to basically go back to your CRM, pull up all the office visits, phone calls, everything, and just basically come up with a number. You should know the value for your staff's chair time, and you should know how long the patient was in the chair for, and the value for your doctor time. So obviously you're going to have doctor time at consult, doctor time at bonding or delivery, maybe doctor time before debond, and maybe a little doctor time for the adjustments or whatever they're coming in. But it's going to be a lot of staff time, right? So you're going to take all that and you're going to average the overhead on the 5 cases and write the number there. Okay, now you're going to subtract the one from the other, write the number below. And now we're going to talk about your real profit margin. And I think there's so many people out there doing ortho or doing a little bit of ortho, and just because they feel like they should and everyone else does, but they're really not doing it efficiently or productively, and they maybe have no idea that they could do this way better. So many doctors are just accepting that refinements and revisions are a part of life, and they're really not. That's actually not normal, because what really blew my mind, and this is nothing that I didn't already know, but if you have a great setup to begin with and an accurate setup, refinements and revisions are not common. They're actually not common at all. They usually, on average, should be less than 10%. Whereas most general dentists are having refinements, revisions upwards of 70, 80, 90%. So that's telling me you're not doing it right. Something's not happening right. So we need to kind of dig into it. And this is something that I do with doctors every day, is we dig into like, where is their weak point in their orthodontics process flow, right? In their standard operating procedures for the orthodontics, we find their weak point and we correct it. So you should have margins of at least 50%. You should be, and I give the number a little bit rough because I'm thinking more in the US. And of course the numbers might be a little bit different, but ideally you should have a profit of at least $1,500 to $2,000. Now I realize I had you take an average of 5 cases. So if there happens to be a lot of phase 1 in there, then maybe it's a little bit on the lower end. But at the very least, you should be having a pretty sweet profit of at least 50% on each patient. So, and if you're not getting that, you're not doing it right. So hopefully you'll read on, check my blog post, check on my YouTube articles. Vlogs. I have a ton of information in there. If you'd like a complimentary consult, you're welcome to visit our website, schedule an appointment. If you'd like to become a client, we're taking those too. So in any case, thank you so much. Have a fantastic day.